Thank heavens for the unexpected rain. We've got grass coming in on the homestead. I'm going to give you guys a tour around the homestead and show you some updates, things that I've been working on while I fill this container of water. But first, if you guys like free resources, you can go over to my website. It'll teach you for free how to find friendly counties to start a homestead, how to locate land that works within inside those counties, how to do due diligence. There's a downloadable checklist over there, and how to build it legally. So there's my book if you want depth. There's the Frugal Off-Grid Path if you want depth, which includes a live Q&A each month, or there's a completely free way to do that. And that is to simply go to the homepage and sign up for the mailing list. You'll automatically get the free guide. It's very in-depth. Getting married in a week. Just kidding. There is a woman, though, that I've been talking to. So there are things around the homestead that I've meant to do anyway. But, you know, when you're starting to consider having a visitor, maybe you kind of clean up a few things and make it more enjoyable anyway. I have a dryer back here for laundry, and it's, well, it's pretty basic. It doesn't even dry as well as hanging the clothes out, but if the sun's not shining, it's really handy to have. There's a shower in the shop that runs off of propane. It's pretty well been there forever. But having one right here at the cabin is a lot more convenient. And I'm thinking of just closing in this corner right here, putting a door there, and then I can walk in here, use the shower, have the washer and dryer. Those will actually go back here. I'll tell you more. But, you know, washer, dryer, shower, and, you know, I have that pill privy system that's permitted by the county. And, you know, when it's cold and uncomfortable, I could have a bucket in here, use the bucket, take it out, dump it, and just make a space that's more of a comfortable bathroom. So that new shower is 70 amps, and it required me to have a 70 amp breaker installed. So there's the 70 amp. There's a 50 amp that'll just run straight down, and that'll be for a welder plasma cutter. And the 30 amp will run over to the new washer. So I'll have a washer and a dryer, and the washer will be just really convenient. I'm about to do some laundry this morning, and you know, I've been doing that for 6 years. Sometimes I'll run to the city and do laundry, but you know, the biggest, most important part about it is to be able to just throw in quilts and sheets and blankets. But everything can go in there now, and that'll make it a lot easier to do laundry every couple days. So the washer and dryer will just go down here. I'll close in this entire area, and then the washer can just drain out into this swell I have. It's not connected to anything else, and it can just soak that water in, and I'll just continue to use natural soap. So it's kind of a gray water situation. And soon I'll have rain harvesting off of this roof, so I can at least have a couple IBC totes. That'll run water into the shower and into the washer. I've been having these posts put in every 10 feet around the homestead so I can panel it like this. I think I've paneled about 100 feet, and I plan to do the entire homestead. And now, as of yesterday, the equivalent of 2 full sides of the homestead have posts up and ready to have the paneling put up. So I'm halfway done with posts. In spring, I planted a bunch of different grass and other seeds, and not much of it came up. Some did, and I was a little concerned, but a lot of these seeds lasted for 6 months and then just sprung up or took root as soon as there was enough water. So the monsoon season has been a blessing. It rained again yesterday, which is a blessing. It wasn't in the forecast. And look, it looks like I've got a little mini lawn coming in up here. So I've been going around the homestead, and ever since I got here, I've been collecting goat head weeds and goat heads, and it's to a point where it's pretty comfortable to walk barefoot around the homestead. I don't catch a goat head very often because I just continue to pull these every year after monsoon. And then these guys are pretty spiky and uncomfortable, so I grab those and take them out and burn them too. Well, that guy's really in there, huh? And if you do this before they get dry and the seeds land on the ground, I'll have to pull that out. Anyway, if you get these every season before they dry out and spread seeds everywhere, eventually they will pretty well disappear. There's actually quite a bit of the little grass seeds coming up all over the place. And then this is from the bird feeder, just seeds that the birds have dropped. A lot of the plants that come up are just native plants. And I didn't plant them, you know, the seeds just blew in and they grew. And those are really good to have. They establish root systems, hold more moisture, and make it easier for some of the other plants that I want to grow as well. So there's more grass. I planted blue grama, which is nearly native. I have hairy grama, and I planted, I forgot what it was called for a minute. I wanted to be sure. I thought it was Bermuda, but then I remembered, you know, sometimes I feed the horses Bermuda, and I didn't want to give you the wrong name, but so I planted blue grama, and sometimes I plant the hairy grama that I harvest here, so it's native, and then I planted Bermuda, and a lot of people were really worried about that. This was 6 months ago, by the way, something like that. And just because, you know, hey, that's going to take over your entire homestead, and I get that happens like east of Mississippi, but I'm in the high desert, and it's pretty desertous here, and as you can see, it hasn't taken over anything. And in fact, if I can get this whole stretch, look at this, all of this I've put down manure for years, and then planted it and tried and tried and tried, and this is as good as I've gotten it so far, without watering it myself. It's just rainwater. But it's working. And if I got Bermuda to just blow out this whole field, that'd be great. There are a lot of benefits in having different plants take root. These are native, by the way, and this is what's growing out. I think this is ragweed, maybe. It's taking over the pasture, by the way. You might not be able to see it real well. Let's go. Can you see, like, there's little waves of green that go through? You know, the pasture started just like the high desert out there, which there's quite a bit out there. But it was good to have the horses completely wipe it out. I'm not saying I'm a professional rancher or nothing, but having them go through and just tear it down was a good thing to do. Now they're adding manure. I'm adding manure. You can see this whole corner's probably a different color a little bit. And that improves it to turn into this kind of soil that all kinds of stuff grows in. And eventually I can partition the pasture and try to grow sections of grass. And I may or may not be successful, but I think it's worth a try. And now that I doubled the homestead, so now I've got the other 2.5 acres in front of me, so 5. That gives me, you know, the horses were already on this massive pasture. But, you know, now they've basically got another 2.5 acres. As soon as I have the rest of the fence put up, I can start pulling down the barbed wire that's around the perimeter and move it to that front section. Anyhow, this is the groundwater recharge here. This is kind of like a pond, but it's meant to soak up all that water. And here's just a little closer look at my field that I've been, you know, I harvest all the horse manure and I compost it and I break it down and I bring it out here, and look at all this grass that's coming up. It's soft and squishy, so it absorbs the water. It holds it longer, and it keeps the water from just rushing through the homestead. Look, here's a weed, a rare. Just gotta keep walking the homestead and pull these every time you see them, and then you won't have any goat heads. So this pond This is just a low spot on the homestead. Then I just cleaned it out a little bit, really. It fills with probably a 2 or 3,000 gallons of water when it rains. Last year, I had just thrown a little manure in there. Horses compacted it a little, and it held water for a week. And an example, like the demi-loons out here, they usually hold water for a day or two. So it was already sealing better. And then this time I got almost 2.5 weeks out of it. And that's because I just threw in some cardboard in addition to that manure. I'll probably throw in another layer of manure here soon, cover the whole base of it, let the horses tamp it down. And it's a long game, you know, but I'd imagine by next year it holds water quite some time. Just yesterday, because that was starting to dry up, I cleaned out hundreds, probably thousands of tadpoles. The toads lay them in there, and the toads are amazing at eating up all of the mosquitoes. So people ask about mosquitoes all the time, and it's not a problem. In addition to the toads, there are a lot of dragonflies, fruit bats. There was one other I was going to mention, but yeah, they wipe them out. There are very, very few mosquitoes. This little section in the center here, this is kind of new as well. I just finally put down manure and grass. All of this is lettuce that I planted, all in front of the animal pens and in front of the greenhouse back there. I had the pig pens cleaned out the other day, so there's a massive amount of compost or manure to add to the compost. I picked up 5 baby chickens recently, and they'll be laying eggs soon. Here's one of the Hugo cultures. There's more inside the fenced garden area. These are wolfberries, which are native. They're similar to goji berry. And you know, there's alfalfa, arugula. That's all alfalfa pretty well. And then those are actual goji berries. I'll show you those up close. There's different grasses and whatnot coming in around the pond and over the root cellar. This is a bog filter, so the water pumps up to the filter. There's biology in there and the plant, and it helps eat all the algae and pumps cleaner water back into the pond. So these are actually real goji berries. You can tell partially because they're actually kind of football shaped. They get little purple flowers and then they turn into these berries. This is the happiest fruit tree I've got right now. There's all that alfalfa again, and some more goji berries. So almost all the way to that far corner, all the way down, there's posts every 10 feet, all the way along the front of the homestead. Past this is the stables for the horses and the round pen. So they go all the way up to the front gate there. She's like, I guess. You can see how much manure the horses lay out here. So this goes all the way to the gate. This whole side's done. Now I just need to do that side and the back. And you see that post up there? That's the front corner, and that's where my driveway has always gone. But I didn't own that lot, and now I do. So all the way from there, all the way over, all that's mine now. So, as you could imagine, if maybe I split that into a couple different pastures and split this into 3 pastures, and then just rotate the horses every few months, and you can let them run. You could open it up and let them run and play a bit, but then just keep them from wiping it out and move them into a pasture overnight, you know. And I don't know, I think it might be possible to grow a little bit of grass out there. So because that's mine now, I went ahead and graded it, and I put a turnaround, graded it all the way out. I planted yucca seeds all the way down both sides of that road and around the front of the property. And I've had my land has been surveyed, so I just need to do 2 more for the corners. And once I know exactly where it's at, then I'll run the fence out. So this barbed wire will get pulled, and I'll run it out around the other property. And you know, the fence will be just solid wood, 6 feet tall all the way around. So you see, all this is where the horses run and play every day, all day. It's like this all the way around, except for the fenced section of the homestead. And now they've got all of that too. You can see ragweed taking root, and then under every tree there's a mountain of manure. So the horses are doing their part to regenerate the ground out here. And then now that I've gotten the interior of the homestead, I've regenerated the soil. Now I can just start bringing all the excess manure out here. I just treated the horses for worms the other day. Oh, I need to get a replacement. This is leaking a little bit, so I need to get another. I may as well just get a big trough now that I could afford it. And I gotta go get another a load of hay soon. Usually I keep this pretty cleaned up, so I'll come in here today. But I admit that I've been really distracted fixing the truck and putting in electrical, and what else was I doing? I've been busy. I just recently planted in the geothermal and the greenhouse, so I better show you all the sprouts that are coming in.